I'm Aryeh Schwartz, along with my co-host Rachel Galligan, and welcome to the WNBAinsidr Show. This episode, the breaking news: Liz Cambage has been traded to the Las Vegas Aces. Breaking news episode: the never-ending Liz Cambage story has come to a close. If you like our show, please consider joining our Patreon community. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can directly show support for the hard work we're doing to cover the W. Rachel Galligan, Liz Cambage is on her way to the desert.
Let's go.
Las Vegas, it's finally happened. Initial reactions.
Oh my gosh, I'm very excited about this. I love myself some Liz Cambage. I do, and I'm just excited for the season to get going. I'm very excited for the finality of this. This has been a very long saga of the last however many months it feels like, and I know it's been very hard on Liz herself, as we saw just the other night. I think it's been difficult for everybody involved, just to kind of see what was going to happen, and now there's direction, and now we can start. Really, we can stop with the rumors and we can start with the conversation about it, and it's going to be so exciting to see this season.
I got two things on my mind. One, Liz Cambage, you better be DJing or doing some sort of big event for the All-Star game. No questions. Two, let's start talking basketball, because that's what we do on this show. Vegas has a freaking scary projected starting five now. Plum, McBride, Young, Wilson, and Cambage. I mean, whew.
Stupid. Stupid.
When I read that, the first thing that comes to mind, Rachel, is I present to you the WNBA 2019 Finals champion, runners-up.
The runner-up?
Runner-up. No, but really, you said something. You said if this trade happens, this is your team. Are you ride or die, or were you just talking before?
It sounds crazy. I'm serious. I'm standing by it, and it's this Vegas team is fascinating. We know how young it is. We know how much talent is on this team. It is easy to sit back and just be like, oh yeah, A'ja Wilson and Cambage together. That will be interesting, and I'm very curious to see everybody's reaction and analysis to kind of how that dynamic will work. But oh my goodness, talking about just this roster. I mean, God, Kayla McBride, the year she had last year, the confidence she's got to be coming into this playing with. Same thing with Kelsey Plum is really trending upwards, and just her young career, what she's capable of doing. A'ja Wilson, I mean, just came out completely on fire. This whole Vegas organization is the hottest thing in this league. And now you're going to add the most dominant player in our game to the roster. I mean, yes, I'm going to stand by exactly what I said. I have a brand new favorite as champions. I'm going with Vegas. I am.
The only thing that I think there's a lot to unpack on this, but definitely adding Liz Cambage to a roster full of really talented young stars, you gotta love the upward swing that Vegas is in now. But how crazy is it how West heavy this league is going to be? You got Phoenix, LA, Seattle, and now Las Vegas. And then you look on the East Coast and you got DC and Atlanta.
Yeah. It is a lot to digest. And I'm probably very excited here. I fully understand that. You still have a lot of young players that, are still learning to play together and only in kind of year two with the organization. So there's definitely still going to be learning curves of just winning games and getting to playoffs, all those types of things. So trust me, guys, I do understand it. I will relax. I'm just very excited. And I stand by the fact that A'ja Wilson and Liz Cambage are two of the most dominant players in our game. And to see them out on the court together, if you don't consider them as a true major threat as a contender, I think you're crazy. So I really do. I believe in this team very much. I have from the beginning. I really felt like they could finish, in the top five before this happened. But now you add this firepower. I said it in our previous podcast. You put Liz Cambage in any roster, and I think that whatever team it is has to immediately be in conversation as a champions or, competing for a championship. So I do stand by it, but it is going to be very exciting to see this whole thing unpack.
Yeah, and it's got to take the wind out of the sails of a few teams that have kind of been, as you're saying, trending upwards, if you will. Something that when I look at this team, the first thing I said when we heard this trade's going down is I immediately went to the stat books. And I start looking and looking. And it was not shocking because I already knew this, but it was shocking to see the numbers printed out there. And yes, these numbers are correct for those who like to come at the league for not having the most always accurate numbers. They are just last place, flat out when it comes to the three ball. I mean, they're attempting around 10 a game. The Minnesota Lynx were taking 5.5 more than them a game. The Sparks last year took more threes in a game than them. What are they going to do? They got to figure out a way. I mean, the one positive that I do see is they're in the middle of the pack when it comes to points per game, but you got to add the three ball, and you got to let Liz shoot that three ball.
Yeah, that'll be a big question is how Lambier does decide to play her. We all know she can shoot it. Is she able to stop and pop from a trail position? With her and A'ja Wilson, they're together. If she's trailing as the 5, that will be a big question mark. Is her ability to do that across the board with Vegas and their 3-ball ability? I mean, they're capable of making it. I think it's just probably a more so style of play type of situation we're going to see here, and kind of what you add a player like Liz Cambage, and that arguably could change your entire offensive scheme or mentality in some ways. But you've got to be able to knock down open shots to allow Liz to do what she wants to do inside. Same thing with A'ja Wilson. Now A'ja can stretch the floor. She can go up to the high post. She can do those things. Liz can do it as well. But being able to stretch the floor and make defenses stretch is going to be really important for them.
Literally any player on their starting 5 and a lot of other players on their roster is a serious threat that defenders are going to need to crash down into the paint as they cut deep, kicking out for lots of open shots. This team is going to get a lot more open shots now. Something that's interesting, I think a lot of this has to do with youth. When I see a team like this that's so talent-driven, look, you already got some vets on this team. Let's not joke around. I think one of the criticisms that a lot of people had for the Aces was bringing in the old Bill Lambier players from Liberty days. But having Liz is a different mold, if you will. I mean, she's one of the most dominant players in the league. For me, it comes down to a lot of things, mostly age. How is this team going to grow over the next years? I think it's easy to see, like you said, you got Kelsey Plum really growing overseas this year, is primed for a big year. I don't know what we're going to see from Young, the rookie, this year, but McBuckets is going to get buckets. For me, the biggest thing looking at the start of the season and different various breaks. This team had a slow start last year. They had a slow start coming out of the All-Star break. How are they going to react to those breaks, and how do they come out there? Do they come out firing, or do they come out with a little bit of, I haven't had my morning coffee yet?
I don't know. The biggest question I have is talking about the point guard position. There's a few different options, a few different. You've got a lot of different guards amongst that team, but with the loss of Mariah Jefferson and her being a part of this trade, how does that look? Running, do you run Plum at the point? Do you mix it up a little bit? Who really steps into that type of role? Those are some questions I kind of have too, and just kind of the guard play on this team. Obviously, we could look at the interior, and that's going to be really exciting. But how McBride and Plum and where what are the other pieces that exactly kind of fall into play here is what I'm really interested. Allen, all of that. They have a lot of talented guard play on that roster, but it is very youthful. And I think a lot of them will take major steps from, the experience they went through last year.
Yeah, 100%. And I personally just really want Liz and Jisoo to become best friends. Side note. I think that would be awesome. But looking on the other side of this trade, Rachel, Dallas Wings. Dallas Wings really have gone through a roller coaster this offseason. trade demand? Is the trade going here? It's been well documented how many times the trade has almost happened. And now the trade has happened, and you kind of sit back and go, okay, did we get enough? What's looking forward? What's going to be the reaction of our fan base? When you're looking at Dallas, what's your reaction?
I have strongly felt that, best way to put this, if this trade was going to go down, when you're talking about the triangle of potentially LA, Vegas, which one could it be? I have always felt like the best possibility of this actually taking place would be with Vegas, because of the pieces they had, the trade value that they had matched Dallas's needs so much more. With Harrison on the inside, obviously you need a point guard presence. You need guard play. The pick certainly doesn't hurt anything. Even though the first round pick, depending on who knows, it may be great, it may not end up being tremendous, who knows. Regardless, it's still a first round pick. So I've always felt like what Vegas had to offer made more sense than what LA could or was willing to offer. And just the pieces that just naturally were in play there. So I'm very happy for Dallas. I think we're in an era where we've seen players who have asked for trades or demanded trades, and we've seen very lopsided trades take place. Because people kind of in some ways freaked out and just wanted to get whatever they could. I have to tip my hat to Brian Agler and really doing his due diligence with this, and not just panicking with the sense of losing such a dominant player. Really took the time to work through this and make sure there was something that Dallas benefited from as well. At the end of the day, you guys, this is a business, okay? It is, hands down. And there's a responsibility there for Dallas to, do what's best for their organization. And so although it's hard to compare something to Liz Cambage. It obviously has a lopsidedness, and it's by nature, it's going to be hard to just fully make an even trade for someone like of her caliber, in my opinion. I do feel like this is really beneficial for Dallas. I feel like they're really secure at the point guard spot right now. We didn't watch it, but Aryeh played the point the other night and did a tremendous job. She can play the point. She's very comfortable in that position.
What did you drop? Like,
yeah,
19
I had 19. So that, I think, probably has given them some confidence as the rumors have swirled about Moriah Jefferson sitting out or not, deciding to rest or not this summer. We won't get into that, but it definitely, I think, is good with Aryeh being there. And then, of course, you've got Skylar Diggins-Smith, who will return, and she's superhuman, so she'll return and probably be better than she was before. So I think and then you get some size in the interior, and they definitely needed that. So I think it's a win. I'm very, very happy for Dallas that they were, and really all parties involved, that they were able to agree on something that everybody felt really comfortable with.
Yeah, and look, it's as I just said before, it's gone back and forth where it's almost here, almost here. I think both of us rarely agree, but we both agreed that Vegas likely had pieces that would aid to this trade actually happening. I think also you have to be realistic. I don't care how great of terms Agler and LA leave on when they went their separate ways this past off season. But do you really think that the best trades coming from them, and also like their roster just flat out didn't have the tools to be able to put things into it that because of Skylar's injury, not injury, because of Skylar's pregnancy, because of various other things and the draft spots that they had. I think there was some more clarity once the draft happened, and definitely when we saw Brown go to LA, I think a lot of us were like, "Oh, is something going to happen?" But then you start to realize Vegas is still probably leading that pack as far as this discussion. The real question that I have is I keep comparing this to when Elena Delle Donne went to DC. And, did Chicago get the best in return? Did Dallas get the best in return? That's going to be the comparison that's commonly going to be placed on this trade, I think. I figure that's kind of the measuring stick.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think you have to look at Dallas in comparison to what happened with Elena Delle Donne in Chicago looks like a completely different story, in my opinion, because I do think there was a little bit of a freak out with the Delle Donne situation. I do. And it's just, let's just get something. Let's just get anything. We can't get nothing type of situation, which is kind of, we've seen that happen in the WNBA right now. That's kind of, it's happened with these high level MVP caliber type of players. These things have happened. And I think to go back to LA, you know, they had the pieces. Obviously, that they're loaded. They're absolutely freaking loaded. I mean, LA's roster is is strong as it's ever been, arguably. And but were they going to trade, you know, the people who they should arguably trade for someone like Liz Cambage?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
what
they're
I
not
meant.
gonna trade the big three. Like you're not gonna trade NECA for Cambage, even though like on paper, and you'd be like, yeah, you should, you could, or you know that makes sense as a reasonable trade, but that wasn't gonna happen. And so yeah, you started seeing some other kind of signs or them bringing people in where you felt like, well, maybe they're putting a trade package together. But I think for me, what solidified that the LA thing was not going to go down was when Shanae ended up going there. I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure at this point they're out of the picture. At least you just kind of got that sense of this probably isn't going to happen.
That was the nail in the coffin, as it were.
Yeah, like yeah, it really felt like that. So I just kind of looked even more at Vegas and thought, man, are they going to be able to agree to this? Is Liz going to agree? Is she going to be comfortable with this? You know, is she going to want to do that? And I do. I genuinely, with all my heart, I'm so happy for her, and I'm happy that she's going to be out on the court again, and I'm happy for her, just what she's brought to this game. I hope she's very, very excited about this and ready to get going. I am.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season. We got I don't even know. It's going to take some time. We're going to have to knock back a few drinks and just reflect, relax, and appreciate what just happened.
These are just our initial reactions, people. So there's a lot to toast to, and I hope everyone is as excited as we are.
But as we always say, we believe in the players of the WNBA and its community deserve the same in-depth analysis and respect that men's sports receive on a daily basis. Please consider joining our Patreon community to help support us and the work we do.